Alright, take two, good afternoon. This is the second video that I've made probably in about a month, I think. Feels like that, not looking too closely. But finally I was in the mood to do a video this afternoon. I want to talk about a few things and somehow, hopefully, maybe in spite of me, not because of me, circle it back to what I started doing, what I started this channel for. That being hockey gaming, sim gaming. This is going to be a noisy one. I'm not in the woods like I was with the last outdoor video. This one here, I'm at a cafe, at a neighborhood cafe. And so I wanted to talk a little bit, I guess, about reasons for the unplanned, unintended little hiatus away from the channel. It wasn't that I really fell out of love with hockey or sim gaming or anything like that. It was just more that I fell in love with doing something else. And so I'm trying to read a book a week this year. And this year, I guess maybe that's a better look at it. I have the camera drawn back and zoomed out as far as it will go. And I'm just using a dollar store cell phone holder here for the camera. But this is the 10th book that I finished in 2022. John Hart, The King of Lies. And typically when I finish a book, what I do is I go online and read reviews about the book. I don't know why I do that. It's a lot easier to hammer out a few hundred words of criticism than it is to write a novel with tens of thousands of words in it. In other words, people love to be negative about things and tear things down, and sometimes I don't even necessarily disagree with the criticism, but I wonder why I do it. But anyway, this is what can I say about this? This is it's an excellent book. And I also discovered that apparently this author here, John Hart, has other books like The Last Child or The Lost Child. It's one or the other. I might be confusing it with an Aerosmith song, but and he has another one, Iron House, as well, and a few other novels. And apparently this, being his debut, is not as good or as strong as his others, which, having just finished it, I have a hard time believing. I thought this was an absolutely fantastic book. I guess you would classify it as a legal thriller, and I'd never read a book like that before. It's it has a good human interest story. I hesitate to call the protagonist a hero. He isn't really. He would probably agree with that himself, that he is certainly no hero, but it is a very interesting, very compelling human interest story, and the story itself is quite suspenseful. And then another one that I started yesterday and started reading a little more today as I was waiting for my coffee here. Stavshrez, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly, her or his name. It could be a pen name. The Intrusions, and again, I don't know a whole lot. This one here, it says there's Silence of the Lambs for the internet age, so I anticipate some social media stalker, I guess, something like that. And read the first scene. I think it's a prologue, actually. I don't think it's chapter 1. And I don't know what klaxon is, but based on the description, I'm going to assume that it's some kind of roofie drug of some sort. So that's what I'm going to read next. I think this will be book number 11, although I have Moneyball. I have at home, I have Justice by Michael Sandel. Those are also on the to-read list. I'm hoping somehow inadvertently, actually, that Moneyball might even help me with game designing, I guess, which is something that, among many other things, every other thing pretty much to do with the hobby, I've gotten away from in the past month or so. But I was in the mood to do a video today, talk about some things, and don't worry, this will be hockey gaming related eventually, because I thought what I might do here, I think I'm going to start a new series, as if I don't already have enough of those, too many of those. And basically I'm going to drop the puck on game design, kind of. So I have this here wrapped, unopened notebook, and I have an idea for a new hockey game. I think I've scribbled it on a couple of pages in a couple of other notebooks, but and of course, if you are Peter Miller, this might annoy you to no end, because Peter's actually been helping me, as has Oli, with the game that I have, Impact Play Hockey, that's 90 to 95% finished. But I don't know, I just haven't been, put these books away here. I don't know, are they distraction or are they a good bit of background? Not sure, but anyway, I guess maybe I should keep them, yeah, keep them there or whatever. So anyway, As you can tell too, it's pretty noisy here on this block. And basically I thought I would just try to write out what I've been thinking and do it live. So this is sort of the concept for a hockey game. I have a few titles kind of in my pocket for hockey games, but I don't know. I don't want to force one of those upon this one. It might not necessarily apply. But wow, I am in a noisy city. So and this is actually not a busy street. This is one of the quieter blocks. And I'm here mainly because the selling point of any good cafe, and sorry again, I will recycle this, but that is a paper cup, another paper cup. But what was I going to say there? It's it's the best coffee. This is the best coffee that I can find in my area. So they make it like I make it for myself. It's like they know how I like it. So anyway, and it's still a bit too hot to sip. And I forget exactly what these are called, but this the dessert with it, and I've had the cup too close because this part is melting. It's so anyway, if you can imagine about a quarter of this page, maybe a little less, hopefully a little less, being like a player card. And this might be a little too dicey at its outset, but what I sort of see here, what I envision here is going from a 2 to 12. Like a 2d6, 2 to 12 roll for offense. And completely, fully, admittedly inspired by the game Glory Days Boxing, I would use a similar matchup system for hockey. So from 2 to 12, probably I would go either from 0 to 2 stars or 1 to 3 stars. And the offense would come with it. Again, I'm trying to think how to, what to go first, second, and third. So this would be part of a player's ice rating. A player would have ice, offense, and defense rating. And this would be when the player is moving the puck on open ice and or along the wall. This game will aim probably to be simple and not too specific. I think it's very hard to do too specific with hockey, unless and yes, there is somebody parked adjacent to this cafe and a bike. Probably be gone within a minute or 3. But if you into that bike engine, I'm losing my train of thought. So an ice rating, offense, defense, and within that rating for the offense, at least, you would have, and I'm not sure which acronym I like best. I'll put them in alphabetical order here. I could go with either PSA, like public service announcement, though it would stand for pass, skate, advance. You could also go PCA, I guess, with carry, pass, carry, and advance. Or I could say SAP, right? I could say skate, advance, or pass. The other one would be SPA, right? So they're all kind of nice acronyms. Unless, again, if I want to switch S with C, and then I'd have CPA cap, which I guess could work. I'll put little C's beneath the S's. Okay. So anyway, so you would have 1 to 3 stars going from 2 to 12. I've also thought about doing a 6x6 grid for this, but that's going to make for a larger player card, and I want to have several categories, a handful of them. And S, if we're going to go with S for skating, some of these would be S and then a number of stars. Some would be P and a number of stars, and others would be A and a number of stars. The defense would work similarly, though slightly different. Again, you'd have a 2 to 12. I don't know if I'd want to pen it out in blue or not. I mean, that would be another column on the card. And I realize now this is going to spread straight across this here line paper, this line page. But so let's go 2 to 12 for the defense. And a lot of delivery bikes in this area, I guess. Okay, and buses. That's a small bus. So basically, everything for defense it would have to counteract, and so it would be in 3 categories. Maybe what I'll do here is really roughly. So let's say that 2, you go, I don't know, S, 2 stars, which would be a pretty good rating, but of course 2 is not going to be rolled as often. And then let's say that 3 is, I don't know, P, 1 star. Probably in that case, I would have to go 0 to 2. I don't know, maybe 0 to 2 is a little easier. I could also consider 0 to 3, 0 to 4. Again, it's my game. Let's say 4 is A and, I don't know, 2 stars. 5 is, we'll go with another P and 2 stars. Maybe an S, 1 star for 6. Maybe a P and 1 star for 7, indicating that this player is not the most talented. And again, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here, making this stuff up. Another A perhaps, and 2 stars here. So good at advancing the puck when 4s and 8s are rolled. Let's go A9 and maybe only 1 star this time. And so on, and just kind of filling it in, filling in the gaps here. Come to think of it, I think in hindsight the idea was I would go maybe 1 to 3 for forwards and 0 to 2 for defense or something like that. I don't want to have a game where it's just turnover, turnover. I have found out the hard way. Games with the turnover tedium, not that that doesn't happen in hockey in real life sometimes. And let's go with a PS to round this thing off. So again, I'm doing this loosely, roughly. I'm not thinking about it too much in depth here. And there will be other things too. I think other letters I might use lowercase instead of uppercase that will align with these. Hopefully I'll come back to that. The defense would be a little different in that it would be 3 columns instead of 1. Each of these columns counteracting this offensive rating. So you would have either C for check or H for hit, right? So C/H, and then like I for intercept. And for the advancing, because basically advancing is, and I'm borrowing from Impact Play Hockey as well. I'm borrowing from my old game as much as I am any other game. Wait, does Impact Play have advance? No, some other still half-design games. The idea with advance the puck is that, you know, if you really want to make a game maybe a little, you know, too in-depth, more so, you know, more than for its own good, what you could do is have like chip the puck, you know, a clear, a chip, and so on. And so I'm just going to do an advance. Advance. It could be a clearing pass. It could be chipping off the boards around the defender, what have you. Again, this will be a simple-ish game, hopefully. So anyway, the point here being that to counteract the advance, I don't know if I go B for block because I also want to have shot blocking in the game. P for pinch, which doesn't necessarily apply in all situations. A pinch, you know, in my understanding, at least I've perceived and heard of it over the years, is more when you've gained the zone and you're at the point and you're trying to keep the puck in, basically, in enemy territory, you know, in the opponent's end. So, but for each of these 3, and sorry if you're rolling your eyes and growling and grumbling, thinking this is too complex already, but you just have a similar, so like, this is where you can really, some of you, I know one of you in particular, I don't know if I need to name names, who would appreciate the defense having a more complex rating. So let's say a roll of 2, which is going to rarely come up anyway. This defense gets 2 stars for hitting, 1 star for interception, and 2 stars for pinching or blocking or whatever. We'll go with PB here, peanut butter. And so on. And so I'm just going to, let's say here too, I thought for the defense I'd have drawing some blanks, so maybe this defender can't reach and intercept the puck, or try to break up a pass, however, and then maybe we'll give him a star here. Let's go with 1 star here for hitting, maybe 1 here. We'll go 1s across the board for 4. I'll try to speed this up a little bit here. We'll say that if he rolls a 5, he's pretty good, except that he can't keep the puck in, but then maybe 6, keeping the puck in, is what he is good at doing. She or he, because I do want to make women's hockey and women's teams as well. I'd like to do that at some point. So I'm just filling this in and fleshing this out. And confession here, one reason why I like fiction and fictitious players and fictional fictitious teams is because it is a bit of a cop-out, and I'll fully admit that. I don't have to pay hundreds or whatever to sport logic for the kind of advanced stats that I would need to come up with, you know, the kind of game, I guess, that I want, using actual NHL players. And with NHL play, maybe it's a wimp move as well, because with NHL players, rating NHL players, you're opening yourself up to others' criticism that, oh, his defense should be higher and lower, and so on. So I don't want to do that. But anyway, so again, consider now that I'm using pen here on lined paper, and so in the actual card it would be, hopefully anyway, a little more, as I reach for a sip of coffee now finally, it would be a little more compact. I'd be able to typeset this a little more compactly. Anyway, I'd have a couple of other categories. One I'm going back and forth on in terms of whether to do a 2d6 or a 1d6 for it, but I'd also want to have a loose and a face-off. And this is where it does get, not dicey's not the right word for it, but a power play and a penalty kill as well. I'm thinking categories where, because you're going to behave differently on a power play or penalty kill on open ice than you are normally. So what I could do either is fill these in and have like in parentheses here where like in the power play the player would do this instead. And of course there'd be a lot more just trying to ice the puck should the player be killing a penalty. So that's considered as well. For loose, it would simply be that the number of stars tie. And so, again, borrowing from Glory Days Boxing, or adapting from Glory Days Boxing, it would be the toe-to-toe action instead. It would be loose puck, right, in a battle over a loose puck. And so for loose puck, similarly, right, you go 2 to 12, and you could have, a star here, maybe 2 stars. This one just be very specific. Does the player come away with possession? I suppose I could throw a couple of things in here, call them asterisks, adjacent to the asterisk, where maybe the player comes away from it, but like a pass to a teammate or something like that, or is able to nudge it to a teammate, and similar with face-off. In the face-off, this is where I go back and forth. I'm not sure if a 2d6 would fully be needed for the face-off. The face-off maybe could even be fully like the Glory Days Boxing mechanic, where it could just be a straight 1 to 6 and a number of stars, 0 to 2 or 0 to 3. And that way, too, you could really mark it down for defensemen. They wouldn't really have to have much of a face-off rating at all. You'd only really put them there if you had to. And but you get the idea, hopefully. So same thing here. Let's say, whatever, 2 to 12. Again, this is all very rough. But I just want to take this out of my head and just kind of share this idea and, let you know about it. And honestly, too, am I worried that somebody would steal this great idea? And I say that, try to add a little sarcasm there. I have no idea if this is really any good or not. Honestly, at the rate that I finish games, or should I say not finish games, I shouldn't be too worried about that. I shouldn't be too worried about anybody taking an idea for a game that I may, me being me, not necessarily finish. And again, power play penalty kill, I think what it would be is just you'd be loading up more shots and passes. You don't really advance. Whoops, I started with 1 instead of 2. You don't really advance the puck too much on a power play. You do that stupid drop pass thing too often, which is annoying, my opinion. And it's like I understand. It's to give the opponent a different look, as you're heading into their zone. But I would argue it's overdone on power plays. Anyway. This is the whole skate it out and then sort of leave it there for the next guy. But, okay, so, and again, similarly, like, as I indicated there, a lot of shot and pass, and then just a lot of, I don't know, I guess clearing or icing or whatever for the penalty kill. Goalie cards as well, probably similarly a 2 to 12 with 0, 1, 2, 3 save stars. And, I don't know, for goalies, I do like when the goalie is different characteristically than the player in a hockey game. So what I could even consider for the goalie, and that's super rough. Holy, that's rough as some words I don't want to say in a video. Maybe the goalie is where I do the 6x6 grid is my point here. And so you could, actually I'm coming up with that on the fly now. I kind of like that. The goalie should be a little bit more individualistic or whatever for the goalie. And the goalie's dice probably would be the defender's dice when the defender's not defending. And though the defender as well, come to think of it, I'm actually missing a couple of columns here. So this is terrible, and this will be too much, and this card will be way too complex. But in addition to the ice, I also want to have like a net front. Maybe we'll just go with net for short. And that would be the net front offense and then the net front defense. And normally if a player has it in the net front, whether it's been feathered, centering pass, it's been handed to them one way or another in the goal mouth, maybe a shot pass or whatever, or they're there digging for a rebound, right in the crease all up in the goalie's kitchen. Again, in the interest of keeping the game simple-ish, I think that I'd simply have net front offense, which is just the players. I do this in impact play as well. I call it score. I call it score for a reason. Did the guy shoot the puck in? Did the guy tip the puck in? I don't want to split hairs and try to divide and make it overly complex, to complexify the game that much. But your offense here basically you're trying to put the puck in the net, and the defense you're trying to block, you're trying to sweep the puck away, and so just get it out of the crease and so on. So so there would be that, and as well probably a 2 to 12, most definitely a 2 to 12. And I think it's not as complex as I'm making it sound, but until I develop it and flesh it out further, I might, if you think that it's too complex, I might even come to agree with you in time on that. So, but yeah, the goalie, I guess you go a 6x6 grid, and then you could have like a save 1 star, save 2 stars, save 3 stars. And if within those, I could also have like saving a face-off, save and hands it to a teammate, save but causes a rebound. So there'd be a few different details, a few different, like some criteria that you could individualize goalies a little better, I think, and again make them unique relative to their skater counterparts. So I like that too. Anyway, this is 20 minutes. I don't know if this needs to be 20 minutes. Maybe it's been an unintentional Korean listening lesson for you. If you can hear, there's a little playground across the street. If I'm being nice without being too cruel, it's not too much to look at. And I'll show here. I'll give you a sneak peek of the people who are campaigning. Maybe I'll even zoom in. So, whoops, no, wow, that's way too much. Oh my goodness, okay. So there are the 14 people. I think it's now down to 13. Maybe it's down even lower than that. I'm not following it too closely. Who are competing to be the next president over here. So, yeah. So there is that. Yeah, I don't want to talk about politics here, but anyway, I don't know, I thought that was as interesting as the playground and behind it. Plus I don't want to show anybody else's faces on camera if I don't need to. So I don't know if there's really too much else that I just kind of wanted to get out the initial session. Let me know what you think about it. I guess some other things too, to circle back now to the offense, and I do this for some of the other categories too. I thought for the offense especially, though I mean it could be in the defense, I've been thinking about like doing a lowercase d here. And what the lowercase d would be the player's ability to draw a penalty. So sometimes when a player is able to play the puck offensively, and I could even attach a condition, I've not thought this through fully, but this next bit, but I could do it where only if the player makes the play successfully do you check for a drawn penalty. And in addition to the possibility of there being a penalty, so you'd have, say, the D ratings over here for the offense, the lowercase d, and then a lowercase p over here for the defense, probably not on all of them. And so in order to actually have a penalty, the P and the D have to match up. So it's like, okay, when the offense rolls a certain number, when the defense rolls a certain number, that's when it's going to be a penalty. Because again, I don't want, I guess in my line of thinking there is, I don't want, if there's no D rolled over here, if it's a player that doesn't typically draw penalties, then maybe if the defender rolls a P over here, a hard hit or whatever, a borderline, maybe cross-check the guy, which seems to be called very arbitrarily to me. So, you see it all the damn time, and what constitutes a two for cross-checking versus not. I'm not saying that the officials do a bad job or that I can do any better. It's just that a lot of it would appear to me, to these eyes, to be pretty borderline in some games. So it's just like mandatorily they have to do it every so often. So, which yes, protect the player's spine, protect them vertebrae. Anyway, and again, therein as well, I could have some draw and P for the loose puck. Probably not for the face-off, though. Maybe like a P for a 12 or something like that. Where, because guys sometimes they get a little physical in the face-off. Power play and penalty kill, you could even have he's cleared the puck, but you got to check for a penalty. Maybe have a P here, meaning that could factor into the game. Over the glass delay of game is. Sometimes you see 5 and 4 and suddenly the team is down 5 on 3. And the draw of the penalty. And I guess other than that, and this is one that I really, really hesitate to do because I feel like it's one of those things where everybody wants it in their game, but I feel like it's not necessarily done too well. But me, I don't know. I go back and forth, I guess. Quit beating around the bush here and just say also having an S next to some of these. And of course, S would stand for specialty. And then maybe you could have another spec column. And you could maybe even have an O spec and a D spec. And just again, do a straight 2 to 12 roll. And I don't know, is it a breakaway? Is it a D? Is it a Savardi and Spinorama? Is it an OV one-timer? Is it a what have you? Is it a Pavelski tip? Is it a, you just could just go on and on and on, right? Is it a what the heck Michigander, is it Trevor Zegras, damn it. That could be one of the specialties. It's Trevor Zegras, damn it. Whether it's a Michigander goal or assist. And So I think I'm going to stop there. Actually, this is it's getting close to half an hour actually that I've been talking about this, and I do want to get back to some book reading, and that's the thing. I've just been I guess it's hard to roll dice and stuff, though I've done it before with a dice app. Especially with my games that I've designed and I already have the mechanics in my head. Sometimes I'll walk down the street and just roll dice on an app, and knowing like where the puck is going, with those dice being rolled, I can do that. It's similar to how you play blindfold chess. Not that I play blindfold chess really well, but it's also not as hard as it sounds. I think it's a similar process when you're rolling dice and just sort of imagining in your head, tracking in your head where the puck is going to who and so on. If you can, picture who you have on the ice, and you can simplify that too, and I do that. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of get out this first bit of my imagination, and I'm going to end with what I should have begun with, which is that credit, in addition to Glory Days Boxing, which I've mentioned a couple of times, credit also out to Jason Graham. Jason Graham, I've talked about this in some other videos, but one of two people I got in touch with when I decided to start this channel, the night I decided to start this channel. And he has a Designing a Hockey Game series, and that definitely inspired this. So this noisy ass video here, he does his on computer. This is going to be my own debut to that. It's just what I'm thinking so far, which is basically fleshing out the player card, the goalie card. One final thing, and it does have to do with time actually. So as this video approaches 30 minutes, I've thought time advancement is really damn hard to do in a hockey game, because I think I don't know, advancing a set number of seconds after every single play, though boring, perhaps a bit tedious, feels kind of necessary. Like, I've tried to come up with other ways that you can advance variable amounts of time, and I have that a little bit for impact play as well. I've even thought of something like, for instance, a D6 multiplied by 5. And then 6 would be a play stoppage. And so it'd be like, either 6, 12, 18, 24, 30 seconds or a play stoppage. And I might still do something like that. I might do that for this game, but that's another die. Or I could, a D10, and a similar concept, right? So maybe 6 seconds. And that checks out. And so 0 to 54 seconds, or 6 to 54 or whatever. And then, I don't know, either 10 is a play stoppage or 10 is a full 60, a full minute killed, a lull. And the problem with that is that doesn't factor in, and this is, again, where designing a hockey game gets really difficult. It doesn't factor in style, an offensive style, a defensive style. Is the team ahead and trying to stall for time, or is the team behind and trying to stall for time? Is the team ahead and trying to kill time? So yeah, and I would like the answer is yes. I would definitely like to have that in a game, but I think it's definitely a lot easier said than done. So. So this is just a bit of a stream of consciousness, I guess, me sharing my ideas and taking them out of my damn head and putting them on paper here, and away I shall go with it. And maybe if this is, even if indirectly, like, like even when it comes to the players' matchup, like, I fully admit this is Glory Days Boxing-ish. It is not, however, Glory Days Boxing per se. I have my own spins on it, my own mods on it that hockey-eyes it or whatever. Hockeyify. So, as always, sorry that it's been a little while, but I've just, again, it's not really having fallen out of love with the hobby so much as fallen in love with another. And I mean, I am a reader from time to time, but I'm trying to adhere to a book a week this year, and get outside and walk a lot more often. And so that sort of does take time away from the hobby. And that one other thing too, being that I really hate updating stats. If I haven't always, I do now. And when you get behind by about 9 or 10 games for 3 different games, which I'm behind like 10, maybe even 10 to 15 games behind. A few Hockey Bones games, a Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey game, a couple of full series of Doc Hockey. And then I've got some shootout games to play later today as well, which, again, that commitment, that obligation to the schedule, which I don't always like. So I realize mid-sentence, this is doubling as an update with me. What am I trying to say here? I I don't always like adhering to a schedule like that, like the one that I'm doing with following with Shootout Hockey. Though I'm taking advantage of time zones and doing so, and doing it more when it's convenient for me. Sort of a 36-hour window there with which to call it the day and play the game, and taking some liberties there, but still pretty close to the schedule, if not perfect. And there was a surgery thing that threw it off for a few days, but. What else was I going to say? Is somebody campaigning? If you hear that announcement, I was saying that it's just, it's enough for me with hockey right now. So, I mean, it's not that I love those games any less. It's just that, there's other things that I also enjoy doing with my time. And I will use that as a lame excuse, though, for why I've not been as active on YouTube, because I'll start watching and listening to a YouTube video, and then I'll want to play, or I'll want to make a video of my own. I get inspired. And so if I'm doing less playing, again, it's, things have happened that have taken me away from the table. For instance, listening to Digital to Dice today, which I wasn't notified for, and then suddenly, coincidentally, I'm doing this video. So there you have it. Anyway, this is 31 minutes now. Definitely well more than enough out of me for the time being. I am going to get back to reading. So anytime, any consideration that you give to this, while it's never expected, it's definitely always appreciated. And let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any ideas to contribute. Let me know if maybe indirectly this I started to say there and then I got off in a tangent about Glory Days. If this can somehow, if you're Oli and you're a very creative person and a game designer yourself, and if this, can help you out, it's fun to share thoughts. And I guess by putting it out there, this is kind of a bit of a video copyright of sorts, maybe, of certain things, all of this stuff in tandem. So anyway, it just got really dark.